we will learn about the Xlookup. So let us start first with the summary of Xlookup. The summary of Xlookup function is that the Excel Xlookup function is a modern and flexible replacement for older functions like VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and LOOKUP. So HLOOKUP supports approximate and exact matching. Also, they support the wildcards, which is static, and also Xlookup works in the vertical and horizontal ranges as well. The purpose, definitely the same purpose which VLOOKUP and index match has. So, Xlookup purpose is to find the values in a range or table. A return value definitely will be the best match, either that will be the exact match or the approximate match, according to the data or the condition or situation. The syntax of Xlookup is a larger as compared to VLOOKUP or index and match. And we need to understand that because it's more dynamic and intuitive towards substituting these old functions. So, Xlookup first function argument is basically the compulsory argument, which is the lookup. Then the lookup array. If you have used index and match, specifically those users who have index and match applied before, so they can understand these two arguments very easily. Then return error written array will be the result array not found. If the value is not found, what we need to have in this argument match mode and search mode. Now we need to understand the match mode and the match mode, search mode. So, the first argument, let's understand the argument first and then the advantages of Xlookup, and then we will go towards the demonstration side. So, the first argument is the lookup, which is the lookup value lookup array. We need to select the array or range of cells in which we need to search the criteria return array. The array or range to return, that will be the result array. We need to select only that specific column or row not found. This is the optional. This will be the value to return if there is no match to found. If there is no match, what kind of value you need to have in cell match mode? There are 3 match modes here. Basically, it's optional. And if you skip, so this is the exact match by default. If you are a user of VLOOKUP, and those of you who are the users of VLOOKUP in VLOOKUP, if we skip the last argument, which is the range lookup, so there in that particular function, the default is 1, which is the true approximate match, but in the Xlookup, the match mode default optional is the exact match, which is 0 means false. Then we can also use -1 for the exact match, or the next smallest we can use 1 for the exact match, or the next larger, which relates to the approximate match. Whenever we are finding any value which is not exactly available, we can go with the 1 or -1, depending on the criteria. And we can use 2 if we are using wildcard match, and might be some of users know what wildcards are, can use wildcards in some Fs countifs, VLOOKUPs, index and match for the partial matches. Okay, the search mode, definitely we have different kind of search modes. So, if we use 1, it will search from the first value default. If we use -1, it will use search from the last value, which is the reverse. Okay, of 2 for the binary search, which is the ascending, and -2 for the binary search descending. Okay, so these are the criterias, match type criterias which we can apply. As I told you, it's depending on the situation. Either we are going with the exact match, either we are going for the approximate match, or we are doing the partial match, or we are using the wildcard. Okay, so the benefits, why the Xlookup is different from the VLOOKUP and index and match. So, the first benefit is the Xlookup offers several important advantages, especially compared to the VLOOKUP. So, Xlookup can look up data to the right or left of lookup values. And as we know that VLOOKUP works from left to right, not from right to left. So, Xlookup can go in any kind of direction. Okay. Similar to the index and match, Xlookup can return multiple results. Okay, and I will tell you in exam. Next example, which is the demonstration part, Xlookup defaults to an exact match, whereas VLOOKUP defaults to approximate match. And I have told you the reason for that in earlier. Xlookup can work with either with the horizontal data or vertical data. But as compared to the current yard usage in Excel, when your data is columnized, you use VLOOKUP. When your data is row-wise, you'll use HLOOKUP. But either your data is vertical, horizontal, no need to worry about that. You can use Xlookup for both kind of different data sets. Xlookup can perform a reverse search, which is not available in VLOOKUP and index and match. So, Xlookup can perform a reverse search as well. Xlookup can return entire rows or columns, not just one values, because it creates spills. Okay, Xlookup can work with arrays natively to apply complex criterias. Okay, so before coming to the notes, let me take you to the demonstration part. And if you understand the Xlookup, you can also understanding the Xmatch function as well. Okay, that gives you a relative position of a particular value. First, we have some examples here, and I will apply the Xlookup function on this data set. So we have a data, we have a company names, different company names, we have headcount, the human resource working in that organization, sales and their types. Okay, now this is not the real data. Remember that this is just an imaginary data of fictitious data, just to give you a demonstration for the Xlookup. So now, for example, if we need to find out number of headcounts from a data for the company Angro, so now we are not using the VLOOKUP or any kind of index match function. We will be using straight Xlookup. The first argument is lookup value, which is the Angro available in H4 lookup array lookup array. Now in the VLOOKUP, we used to select entire data in the table array. Now in the Xlookup, it's very different. You just need to select that specific column for the lookup value you are searching for. Okay, and then return array. When this Xlookup will find the name of the company, what kind of return you want. We need a number of count, which is available in that particular column for that particular company. So we have just selected a one column, C4 till C10, and I will skip all those optional function arguments, and I will just close the bracket. So instead of VLOOKUP, we used HLOOKUP, very simple, and we got the head count, which is 5084, exactly matching for the company. And grow, this is the first example. Second example, there is a type called B, and we need to find out the company name, which is in type B. Now this is the lookup towards the left side. Okay, and we know that VLOOKUP does not work from right to left, whereas Xlookup can perform that. So equals to Xlookup, lookup value again, available in L4 lookup array. So we need to only select that specific column, which is the type column, in our case return array. What return we are required? We need the name of the company. So we just need to select the range of the company name, and we will just close the bracket. So we can see that in the type B, the company name is HBL, and we got that. So this is exactly working like index and match. If you have the idea. Okay, so Xlookup can perform left side lookups as well. Now in the third example, if we have the data set, but this is in row wise, we have units, we have different units, 10 units, 25, 35 and 15. According to that, we have some discounts, rates available, and we want to get an idea that on 33 units, how much discount we can get. So if you are a user of index and match or the VLOOKUP, you might be using this kind of situation, and where you apply the one for the approximate match, because we are working with the number which is not exactly available in the data. So you always use the approximate match. But in Xlookup, how we gonna use it? Let's do it equals to Xlookup. Lookup value will be H14. That is the number of units we are trying to find lookup array. So we need to look up the number of units. Range return array will be the discount percentage we want to have if not found. We will skip that. Now the match mode. Now the match mode will be 1 here because either we need the exact match, which we know that exact match is not available, or the next larger item. So we are using 1 here. And search mode. We are not using any search mode here for in this scenario. And we got the 7%. So if we have 33 units, we can get 7% discount. Right, let's say. If we have 36 units, we will get, because now this criteria is surpassed by the next criteria. So we have 36 units. We will get 10 discount. If we have 37 units, we will get 10% discount. If we have 5 units, if we purchase 5 units, we will get only 1% discount because this falls in this criteria, which is the approximate match. So this is very easy to use the Xlookup, but the ideas are not limited to it. The main purpose of this webinar was to give you the fundamental idea about each of the function that how they gonna apply in Excel, what are their outcomes, what kind of function arguments they hold, how they are dynamic, and how they are very much different from normal Excel strategies, which we usually apply in different kind of situations. Okay, the last functions before I proceed towards the question and answer session. In the chat window, I would like to give you an idea about the Xmatch. So if you have previously used index and match in Microsoft Excel, and if particularly if you have used the match function. Okay, so if you have used the match function gives you a return value as a number, and it finds the position of that particular criteria, either presented in certain row column. Okay, so Xmatch is the substitute for that, and the Excel Smatch function performs a lookup and returns a position as similar to the match function. And Xmatch can perform lookups either in vertical and horizontal as well. Okay. And this is meant to be a more flexible and powerful successor to the match functions. And that's the extra advantage. When we compare these two functions, so just like Xlookup supports both approximate match and exact match and wildcards for the partial match. So like Xlookup function, Xmatch can search data starting from the first value to the last value. And it has the capability to do the reverse search as well. And finally, Xmatch can perform binary searches as well, which are specifically optimized for the speed. And if you have observed that we have issues towards the large datasets and the speed optimization when it comes to the Excel, so these new dynamic array functions help us to make sure that our workbook speed should not be compromised. Okay, and giving you a quick demonstration. For example, if we want to find out the position of MCB company from a list of company names, so what we're gonna do, let's say if I write MCB here, and I need to find the position of this value from a list of companies. So I have applied the Xmatch lookup. Value is in H7. Then lookup. Array will be the company name in which we are finding that particular value match mode. Either we can go for the exact match, we can go for the approximate match, and wildcards depending on the situation. For in this situation, we will go for the exact match, and for the exact match, we have a 0 here. So it returns Y4 because MCB is being located at the 4th position in this company dataset, company column. Okay, but there are many usage of Xmatch as well. Thank you.